Some hearts don't cry loudly. They ask for help in silence. They keep going every day. They handle their responsibilities. They smile when people are around. But inside, something feels heavy. They don't talk about it much. They don't know how to explain it. They just carry it quietly and keep moving forward. If your heart feels tired today, if something inside you feels unsettled without a clear reason, then this message is for you. Stay with me. This may be what your heart needs right now. The quiet weight your heart is carrying. There are moments in life when the heart feels heavy, not because something suddenly went wrong, but because it has been holding too much for too long. You may not even be able to point to one clear reason. Life may look normal on the outside, responsibilities are being fulfilled, days are passing, and people around you may think you are doing just fine. But inside there is a quiet tiredness that doesn't go away, no matter how much you rest. This kind of heaviness is difficult to explain because it is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply sits in the heart, slowly draining energy, patience, and peace. You may feel less motivated, more sensitive, or easily overwhelmed by small things. You may wonder why you feel this way when others seem to manage, or why your heart feels unsettled even when you are trying your best. What is important to understand is this: feeling this way does not mean you are weak, failing, or distant from Allah. It means your heart has been strong for a long time. It means you have been carrying worries quietly, handling challenges silently, and continuing forward even when you felt tired inside. And Allah knows this about you better than anyone else ever could. Nothing that weighs on your heart is hidden from Allah. Every unspoken concern, every moment of confusion, every silent struggle is known to Him. When your heart feels heavy without words, Allah understands the feeling even before you understand it yourself. And that awareness alone should bring comfort, because it means you are not facing this quietly, asking for help on your own. When a heart feels heavy, the mind often starts asking difficult questions. Why does this feel so hard? Why am I struggling when I am trying so sincerely? Why does this weight not lift even when I pray? Even when I stay patient, even when I keep going? These questions do not come from a lack of faith. They come from a heart that is tired and searching for reassurance. This is where the words of the Quran quietly comfort the heart. Allah reminds us that no soul is ever given a burden greater than what it can carry. That means every weight you feel today has already been measured with your strength in mind, even if you cannot see that strength yet. What feels overwhelming to you is not unexpected to Allah. He knows exactly how much you can endure, and He never places a person in a situation without also placing the ability to survive it within them. The Quran also reminds us that ease is always tied to hardship. Not after it, not far away from it, but with it. This means that even while you are struggling, even while your heart feels unsettled, relief is already being prepared. Sometimes it is hidden in patience, sometimes in growth, sometimes in a lesson you will only understand later, but it is never absent. If your heart feels heavy today, it does not mean you are moving backward. It means something inside you is being shaped, strengthened, and refined in ways you cannot yet see. Allah does not allow pain to exist without purpose, and He does not allow tears without meaning. Every quiet moment of struggle is part of a bigger story that is unfolding gently, step by step. So when your heart feels like it is asking for help, remember this: you are not carrying this alone. Allah is aware of the weight, aware of the timing, and aware of the relief that is coming. And even if you do not feel it yet, your heart is being guided through this moment with care. When help is already on its way, when the heart feels like it has reached a quiet limit, not because it has given up, but because it has been patient for so long, you may feel like you have done everything you know how to do. You have tried to stay strong, you have tried to remain hopeful, and you have tried not to complain. Yet inside there is a feeling that gently says, I need help now. What many people do not realize is that this feeling itself is not a sign of weakness. It is often a sign that help is already near. When a heart reaches the point where it turns inward and sincerely asks for support, even without words, that moment matters greatly. Allah does not wait for perfect sentences or long explanations. He responds to sincerity even when it comes in silence. The Quran reminds us that Allah is close to those who call upon Him, close enough to hear what is not spoken and close enough to understand what cannot be explained. When your heart quietly asks for help, Allah is not distant or unaware. He is nearer than your worries, nearer than your fears, and nearer than the thoughts that keep you awake at night. Sometimes help does not arrive as an instant change. Instead, it arrives as strength to get through one more day. Sometimes it arrives as calm in the middle of uncertainty. Sometimes it arrives as a reminder that reaches you at the exact moment your heart needed reassurance. These are not coincidences. They are signs that you are being guided gently, step by step. If you feel tired today, remember this: Allah has not left you to carry this weight alone. The fact that you are still standing, still trying, still turning your heart toward Him is already proof that support is surrounding you, even if you cannot see it clearly yet. Help does not always come loudly. Often it comes quietly, just like the way your heart asked for it. When calm slowly replaces fear, fear often enters the heart quietly. It doesn't always arrive with panic or sudden shock. Sometimes it comes as constant worry, as overthinking, as a tight feeling in the chest that never fully relaxes. You may find yourself thinking about the future more than the present, worrying about what might go wrong, and feeling unsure about what lies ahead. This kind of fear is exhausting, especially when it stays for too long. But there comes a moment when the heart begins to soften again. Not because everything suddenly becomes clear, but because trust slowly starts to return. Calm does not replace fear all at once. It arrives gently in small moments, reminding the heart that it does not need to have everything figured out right now. It reminds you that today can be handled today and tomorrow can be left where it belongs. The Quran reminds us that hearts find peace through remembering Allah. This peace does not mean problems disappear, but it means the heart no longer feels alone while facing them. When the heart reconnects with trust, fear loses its grip. The mind may still have questions, but the heart begins to feel supported, protected, and held. Calm grows when you allow yourself to release what you cannot control. You were never meant to carry the weight of the future alone. Allah already knows what is coming, and He is fully capable of handling it. Your role is not to solve everything, but to take the next step with sincerity and patience. If fear has been sitting in your heart for a long time, let this moment be a gentle turning point, not a dramatic change, not a sudden shift, but a quiet decision to trust again. Calm is not far away. It begins the moment you stop fighting your feelings and start placing your heart in the care of the one who understands it completely. When hope begins to grow again, there is a moment in every difficult journey when the heart begins to feel something it has not felt for a long time. It may not be happiness and it may not be relief just yet, but it is something gentle and important. It is the feeling that maybe things will not always be this heavy. Maybe the pain has a limit. Maybe the worry does not get the final word. This is how hope returns quietly, without noise, without announcing itself. Hope does not come back all at once. It does not suddenly erase fear or remove every concern. Instead, it enters the heart slowly, reminding you that you have survived every difficult day before this one. It reminds you that even when you felt broken, you kept going. Even when you felt confused, you still turned your heart toward Allah. Even when you felt tired, you did not give up completely. These small signs matter more than you realize. Sometimes people think hope means feeling strong again, but that is not always true. Often, hope simply means choosing not to give up today. It means waking up and saying, I will try again, even if your voice feels weak when you say it. Allah values this kind of effort deeply because it comes from sincerity, not ease. A heart that keeps turning back to Allah even while feeling tired is a heart that is still alive with faith. The Quran reminds us that Allah is gentle with His servants. This gentleness shows itself most clearly during times of weakness. When you feel strong, you may not notice it as much. But when you feel low, unsure, or overwhelmed, that gentleness becomes a source of comfort. It shows you that you are not expected to be perfect, fearless, or unshaken. You are only asked to keep returning, even if you return with tears, questions, or exhaustion. Hope grows when you begin to see your struggles differently, not as punishments, but as moments of shaping, not as signs of failure, but as signs that something within you is being strengthened. Allah does not waste pain. Every difficult moment carries meaning, even if that meaning is not clear right now. One day, you will look back and realize that what felt unbearable was actually preparing you for a level of understanding, patience, and strength you did not have before. There are days when the heart feels like it cannot handle one more disappointment. On those days, hope whispers instead of shouts. It tells you to slow down. It tells you to breathe. It tells you that it is okay to rest without quitting. Allah does not rush your healing. He allows it to happen at the pace your heart can manage. This is mercy, not delay. You may feel like you have been waiting for relief for a long time. Waiting can be painful, especially when you do not know how long it will last. But waiting with trust is different from waiting with fear. When you trust Allah, waiting becomes part of the journey, not a punishment. It becomes a space where growth happens quietly, where the heart learns patience, and where faith deepens in ways comfort never could. Hope also grows when you stop comparing your journey to others. Everyone carries a different test. Everyone heals at a different pace. What matters is not how fast things change, but how sincerely you keep turning back to Allah during the process. Your journey is personal, and Allah is guiding it with wisdom, even when it feels slow or unclear. If your heart has been tired for a long time, let this chapter remind you of something important. Feeling tired does not mean you are losing faith. It often means you have been holding on for a long time, and Allah sees that effort. He sees the nights you struggled quietly. He sees the days you smiled while feeling heavy inside. He sees the prayers you made without words. None of it is wasted. Hope becomes stronger when you allow yourself to believe that Allah's plan includes goodness for you, even if you cannot see it yet. Trust does not require understanding every detail. It only requires you to believe that the one guiding you knows what He is doing. And Allah never guides a heart toward harm. As this hope grows, it begins to change how the heart feels. The fear does not disappear completely, but it becomes quieter. The worry does not vanish, but it loses its power. The heart starts to feel steadier, calmer, and more grounded. This is not because life has suddenly become easy, but because trust has begun to replace fear. If today your heart feels slightly lighter than it did before, even for a moment, hold on to that feeling. That is hope. Protect it, feed it with trust, strengthen it with remembrance, and remember that Allah is not done with you yet. He is still writing your story, still guiding your steps, and still bringing you closer to the peace your heart has been searching for. When reassurance turns into inner strength, there comes a stage in the journey where the heart no longer feels as fragile as it once did. The pain may still be there, the situation may not have fully changed, and the answers may not have arrived yet. But something inside begins to feel steadier. The fear that once controlled every thought starts to loosen its grip, and the heart slowly realizes that it has survived more than it ever thought it could. This realization does not come loudly or suddenly. It settles quietly, like a calm confidence growing beneath the surface. At this stage, reassurance becomes strength. The heart begins to understand that it is not helpless, even in difficult circumstances. It learns that relying on Allah does not mean feeling strong all the time, but trusting even when strength feels low. This trust transforms the way pain is carried. Instead of crushing the heart,